Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you are a brand new subscriber or a brand new viewer. My name is Kyle and we are continuing our James Cameron series leading up to Avatar: The Way of Water. Today's review is going to be for The Abyss, which came out in 1989 and was once again written and directed by James Cameron. Now before we continue into the review, I do recommend you subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. And also, The Abyss will contain spoilers because I am going to be talking about the plot of the film and its ending. So if you have not seen the movie, please watch it however way you can find it, because this movie is notoriously difficult to find on the internet. I hope that you guys find a copy of the film or get the DVD. Unfortunately, there was no Blu-ray. James Cameron, what are you doing, man? I don't get it. But definitely watch the film however way you can and come back to this review. This was a movie I loved when I was younger. I thought it was a very interesting science fiction film. There was an intriguing mystery to it, and I definitely liked the acting. Titanic was the first James Cameron film I saw, and then I saw the original Terminator and then Avatar. So this was the film I saw afterward. I was aware of James Cameron as a filmmaker, so I was of course excited to see the film. And then I saw the poster of the movie, and in my personal opinion, I think it is one of the scariest posters of all time. I just find it terrifying, the idea of everything around you is just dark and all of a sudden there's this bright light. You're like, what the hell is that? And despite the fact that this movie is not characterized as a horror film, it definitely is a scary movie to me, but for slightly different reasons. I feel like most specifically because it takes place in a claustrophobic environment, which also so happens to be completely underwater. 95% of the movie takes place under the water. So immediately, the danger is always there because if a pipe leaks and water fills the bridge, characters can die if they can't escape the bridge. There's always the fear of drowning. Now, I've always been a good swimmer, but I've always been kind of afraid of the deep ocean. You know, not really knowing what exactly is down there, and especially if I can't see what's down there, that's even more frightening. So the movie is frightening from like an external point of view for me. On this rewatch, I hadn't seen it in years. Probably the last time I saw it was maybe 7 or 8 years ago, so it's been a while. I've seen The Terminator countless times, so I didn't really need to rewatch it. I wanted to, but I needed to rewatch this film to just get my mindset fresh to talk about it. And what I can immediately say about The Abyss is that it definitely does have some problems. And we're going to talk about that towards the end of this review. But I definitely want to get the positives out because there are so many great elements to this film. Definitely the biggest for me are the performances. I think the acting in The Abyss is superb all across the board. Ed Harris and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, I think, are both Oscar worthy here. Their performances really sell the fact that this is a couple going through something, but they still love each other. I really like Michael Biehn in this movie. I like the fact that he's playing the villain because we saw him as the good guy, Kyle Reese in The Terminator, and of course Hicks from Aliens. So to see him take a departure from his usual heroic roles was a great surprise for me. And it's interesting because James Cameron, I believe for this movie, was trying to undo what he did in Aliens and The Terminator, where he was trying to show the extraterrestrials, aliens, or cyborgs as the bad guys, the villains. And in this movie, he's trying to showcase the aliens in a positive, angelic light. I really enjoy the action scenes in the movie, especially when the crane falls down and their entire ship just starts floating down towards the crevice to the abyss. That is a terrific scene, and it features one of my favorite movie moments of all time, where Ed Harris's ring stops the door from closing. I just absolutely love that scene to death. I love the concept of liquid nitrogen in this movie, the idea that you can essentially breathe in water, but it's not going to destroy or collapse your lungs, you're not going to drown because of it. I thought that concept was really cool. I also enjoy the little bits of humor sprinkled in, like when Bud throws the ring in the toilet and he ends up grabbing it and his whole hand turns blue because of it. I feel like the movie's central plot about nuclear weapons definitely plays into the fact that the Cold War was still brewing at the time, and definitely the fear of nuclear war was very present. So I definitely think James Cameron was trying to capitalize on that. Whether you believe that that's to the film's detriment or one of the reasons why it was a success because of the tension that can be created because of that is up to you. I think overall it does create a really good atmosphere while you're still submerged underwater. And then there's the aliens of the film. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the first time I saw the movie, I definitely was kind of scared by them. It's like a whole bunch of light contraptions, but you don't really know exactly what it is on your first viewing, what they are, what they want. And if I'm being honest, this is kind of where we're gonna start to talk about some of my issues with the movie. And I definitely think the aliens is a part of it, but it's not entirely it. The movie's pace drags a little bit during the second act, and I think Cameron tried to fix that by having this incredibly amazing effect with the water creature that can mimic people's faces. That's a really cool scene, and I definitely enjoy it. But I feel like it's over rather quickly, and after that, we don't see the aliens until practically the very end of the movie. Once we get into the third act of the movie, I think that's where things really start to pick up. The fight scene between Bud and Coffee is really good. It leads to a great, I guess you can call them mini subs chase underwater. I think that scene's pretty cool. Coffee's death is pretty good, especially when he screams, because the moment that glass cracks, his face is going to explode too. To me, the best scene of the movie is the drowning sequence. It is absolutely haunting in every single aspect. The idea that you're looking at your partner, your significant other, dying in front of you and saying you have only 10 minutes to revive me. I mean, what the hell do you say to something like that? And what I love is during that scene, each person is talking about how to save the other person, not talking about how to save themselves. That shows the love that they have for each other. And it's brought to the stratosphere during the resurrection scene, which I think is just as thrilling. Okay, so let's talk about that ending, because in typical James Cameron fashion, there is a fourth act to the movie in which the aliens take Bud, they show them their city, and they let him live. And they basically say that, well, love was the reason why they saved him, and that's the reason why they decide to become known to the world. Now, there's a lot to this ending, and it's the kind of ending that has been despised and laughed at ever since it was released in '89, as far as I'm concerned. For me, I feel like it's a mixed bag. For one, I have seen both versions of this film, theatrical and the special edition. And I actually prefer the theatrical edition because what the special edition does is they have a whole bunch of tsunamis and they threaten to destroy the world. But if the message of the movie is they were trying to be a peaceful race, why threaten to destroy the world? That kind of ruins the message that Cameron was trying to set up with the aliens just trying to communicate with us. So the theatrical cut is the one that I think I prefer with the ending. The only problem is that it feels so abrupt because Cameron was forced to take that footage out. So you're kind of left with a very empty, hollow kind of end because all of a sudden, the aliens just decide to raise their entire city, which honestly does not even look that big. And my biggest questions about them are never answered, like, how long have they been on Earth? Do they have more cities underwater? How do they understand human beings? How do they understand how we emotionally connect with one another? What other form of communication do they have? None of these questions are really answered, and they feel very empty because I think Cameron was trying to have the aliens be sort of a metaphor for trying to establish peace, not hatred between human beings. I guess that's the point he was trying to set out to do, but in the movie, it's very generalized and too simplistic. I still think this is a pretty good movie. I think the performances are absolutely stellar, definitely the best element of the film in my opinion. The action sequences are incredible, the practical imagery is absolutely on display in typical Cameron fashion. He loves to make sure that you know that you're seeing something real. The advancements in technology is definitely present here and was definitely the precursor for the T-1000 in Terminator 2. But the movie definitely can get a bit weighty in terms of its nuclear premise, and especially the aliens, because I feel like either they should have been removed from the movie or they should have been involved a lot more. I'm going to give The Abyss a B+. So what do you guys think about The Abyss? Let me know down in the comment section below. In the meantime, do not forget to subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. All the links to my social media pages can be found in the description box below, as well as my business website, kjgpictures.com, also down in that description box below. My next review is going to be for True Lies. I'm very excited to talk about that film, continuing my Cameron series leading up to Avatar 2. Thank you guys so much as always for watching, and stay tuned.